Let me go, Dre.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All righty, we're joined by Mark Willard and Dan Dibley. I'll say this to you guys real quick.
Take your time. We got 30 minutes.
Do we?
40.
Relax, Goo.
I hope we do.
Yeah.
Man. Leaving the show yesterday, we knew Steph wasn't going to play. Yeah. So I start talking to Goo and Evan, the producer, and say, tomorrow, if Steph doesn't play, what if they lose, 10, 12? It might not be 4 hours worth of content.
Yeah.
So let's start thinking it. You go to the game, and 1 minute into it, you're like, I guess tomorrow's show's going to be all hoops.
All taken care of.
And you were there, right?
I was. Guru and I went.
Is that the first time you've ever gone to a game together and actually sat together?
We rode in the caddy, broke bread before we went to the game.
Okay.
This man was somebody else, Willard, because I thought I had floor seat. Our guy that hooked me up, I thought we had floor. So
what you don't know is I never thought you had floor.
Well, okay.
Do you mean like the
not
lake
the
of
Bob
seats?
Myers are right behind that. I'm taking my guy because I know he got standards. We get in there and the lady's like, sir, that tongue to me, that's number 2. You need to go up and then up. I know. How high does this thing go? And when I got to the top, Dibs, I said, we're up here with the pigeons. So the guy knew I was taking Steiny because I texted him, and he goes, oh, boy. I wish you would have brought anybody but my guy.
Man.
But we had a good time.
I wish you wouldn't have lost touch with your roots, because that's where you and I grew up. You and I and Mark.
What were we sipping?
Steiny wasn't here when he was a kid, but when we were Coliseum kids,
yeah, right.
Every time that I went back in the old one, there was one level.
I forget where you come from.
Were you here when there was just one level at the Coliseum Arena? Because I know that they they redid it in 19. But Guru, you and I we were in the 70s, and so I was a little disappointed at your lack of
Willard, my picture revealed I was trying to hide where we were at.
Yeah.
But it was the
He lost his way.
And people go, what did y'all do to piss off the Warriors?
Yeah,
you're up there with the Lord.
Well, and I worried about what are you? Are you 6'5"?
Yeah, 6'4".
I mean, I've been up there at Chase. It gets steep fast.
It does.
He was like,
and I was like, are your
help.
knees and ears touching one another right now? Like, what? How was that?
You have,
he didn't complain.
You have to watch the game from the second level in a catcher's crouch.
He's like, Goo, I'm cool.
He's in the squat. This is Goo.
I think that's
I do need to say something, because there's some text that says we appear ungrateful. Where Steve's sitting where
we completely sound like snobs.
I know.
We do.
Guy.
No, the fact that this conversation's even happening totally means we're seat snobs, but we can but we can explain.
Okay.
This is just life.
Right.
Like, I didn't grow up, getting to go to a lot of Dubs games at all. And if we did, we were up high, save for maybe once every year or two when Greg would come to town to officiate the game.
Your
Greg.
cousin, right?
Yes, rest in peace, Greg Willard, who was an NBA ref, and if he came, and we would get that call at like 2 PM. It was like, what are you doing in 3 hours?
Yeah.
And if it worked, we would go and sit in the second row.
Man.
And outside of that, I would never be on the floor at a Warrior game. But it's like anything else in life. Once you've been exposed to 500 games of sitting in whether it's media seats or whatever. I mean, like, I cut my teeth in this business watching Kobe and Shaq from 10 feet away. Go ahead and hit it. But anyway, it's just reality.
Stop whopping me.
No, but it's just reality. So it changes. Yeah. It changes your perspective.
And I didn't realize it because I wanted to shake him. Tell me how disappointed you are. Tell me. And I guess
that's what hurts most.
Exactly. Thank you, Steiny.
And it's just hitting me.
Speak on it.
You actually thought, I knew before I ever walked into the arena that we had nosebleeds.
Oh, I did.
I still went.
All right.
If I didn't want to go, I would have been like,
I didn't know. A joke on me. I wouldn't have asked you to go if I knew.
Once I saw the 2.
Well, I didn't see the 2. Yeah, we had a pop or 2. I didn't see the 2, Dibs. I had the shades inside. You'd have been proud of me.
Always proud of you. But, Steiny is son of a couple of teachers, and Mark's son of a teacher. And, we all talk about where we're from. And, when I was a kid living in Marin, and everyone, you grew up in Marin. We were in old school Marin before everybody had a silver spoon. In Marin, where I lived, we didn't have a lot of money. And so my brother Mikey 1.0, we would get in Scott Elliott's Mustang, and we would speed over there, and they would sneak the Bacardi in my puffy coat.
This is great.
And we would go in the parking lot, and we wouldn't have tickets. We would get tickets in the lot.
Stuff.
And little Danny Dibley with his orange hair would be out there. Oh, excuse me, sir. You gotta go.
I love it.
And then, $5 a ticket or $7. You wait till after tip and the price goes down. And
Look
so
at this guy.
I was born and raised in the bleeds. And so last year when I went to the playoff game by myself, because my son couldn't make it, he had a tummy ache. And so I went solo and I was in the bleeds. And I was like, you know what?
I remember that.
I'm happy up here. This reminds me, Guru. It reminds me
not a snob,
of where I'm from, Daryl. And you're from the Yune, and I'm from Fairfax, which is like, it's like the Marin County version of the Yune. It's a mixed bag of people, and so,
I'm driving in today. Last thing about this, an unknown person that likes me, us, said, I got something for you. So I'm going to pay Steiny back tomorrow, not the Bob Meyer floor seats, but damn good seats. I said, I'll call your better half and say, I need them tomorrow. So we're going to go tomorrow so I can pay him back of being low.
Pay him back for taking him to a game.
That was up high.
So now you owe him. In your mind,
I feel
you owe him because you got him a free ticket to the game.
He did some other
but that
stuff.
ticket was not on the floor. Is that how your brain is working right now?
No, not at all.
Oh, my
I said,
gosh.
who in my life deserves to go? I said, you know what? I took my man up to God's house. Now we're gonna get a little
Now
lower.
you go meet the devil tomorrow.
halfway to heaven.
Well, forget all that. Where are you guys at on this? Because Dibs hurt my feelings saying I turned on Draymond. I didn't turn on Draymond. I gave him. I understand that one yesterday.
You gave him 10 games.
No, I'm saying if you look at Gobert and the eyes going in The Exorcist, I'm like, this dude, it might get to 10 games.
And I'm going to say this as a guy who has never defended Draymond Green. No one's been harder on Draymond Green on this station than me. And these are facts. I've come at him time and time again, but he was in the right yesterday. And you know what? Rudy, Monsieur Gilbert, Draymond did?
He got thrown out, I mean.
He got ejected.
So
he didn't get
wasn't in the
suspended.
right. Yeah.
He's going to.
Gobert should have been
there's no
suspended.
doubt.
Gobert put his hands on Klay Thompson's neck, and Draymond came in, and you know what he did? He cleaned up. And he might have held it a little bit long.
Yeah, you think?
He might have held it. He might have held it for a beat or two too long, but you know what? Gobert should have been ejected. Draymond ejected. Klay and what's his face? None of us have ever heard of. Who even knows who that guy is? You're all.
He just got paid.
Get your hands off Klay Thompson. That's a tech and a tech, and we move on. Yeah. Draymond does not need to get 10 games for that.
Willard, the league knows the Jordan Poole thing fiasco Draymond got away with, and this is why I'm saying 10.
That was in-house.
No, but still, they're going to penalize Dre for getting away with the Poole thing, and the league didn't step in, Willard. You watch him get Dre with this one.
Of course they're going to.
Okay.
And they should.
Okay.
Of course he should be suspended.
That was heinous. Come on, man.
One of the fascinating things about this, fascinating thing about this, and I knew this. I hadn't talked to Dibs yet this morning.
You knew.
Well, I knew this. I knew that, and it's the same reason I've heard it with all of your callers today. This is one of those events that 100 people can watch, and you can literally immediately get together for a meeting with those 100 people, and you'll get at least 7 different things in terms of how people saw it. I didn't really see Rudy Gobert purposefully going after Klay Thompson's neck. I know that his hands ended up there.
Yeah.
My question for Rudy is, why did you go to Klay?
Okay.
If you're a quote-unquote peacemaker, as the refs called you, you go to your teammate and you hold them back. Now, that can put you in a little bit of a vulnerable position, but I also don't think Klay Thompson was the type to put his dukes up, take a shot at McDaniels. So normally, if you are quote-unquote peacemaker, you go get your guy. Rudy went and got the other team's guy. That, in my opinion, is the mistake he made. But to compare his arm on Klay's neck to the way that Draymond did his neck, to me, is a little disingenuous. It's definitely not the same thing. And yes, their history in these situations, says the NBA, matters. And so whether we think it's 10 games, 1 game, should be no games, He is going to get suspended for this.
Man.
He is absolutely going to get suspended.
It should happen during our show today.
It should happen during our show.
Yeah.
I do.
Tease it.
I do also believe he should have been the only person ejected from the game.
Okay, all right.
Klay Thompson and McDaniels should have gotten double technicals, and let's move on with our lives. But everybody's going to have a different thing. I've reached this point where I have the hardest time getting emotionally triggered by things Draymond does on a basketball court.
That's my partner all day.
The bottom line is the organization has told us now for a decade, this is who he is and we're cool with it. His teammates have said, this is who he is and we're cool with it. And he has said, this is who I am and I refuse to change. So there's zero surprise. There's zero reaction. There's just zero. I sort of watched this stuff.
But you got games without him, and you've lost 4 in a row.
I'm not here to tell you it's okay.
All right.
And I'm not here to tell you that I agree with it. I'm just like, I can't react anymore. This is who he is.
Well, you got 4 hours to react to it.
No,
so.
but you know what I mean?
I mean,
but he's going to do it again.
Right.
And don't call in January about, I can't believe that they're like, he's going to do it again.
All I'm saying is if you want to list all of his misdeeds in his career, this one ranks about, for me, about number 8.
I gave him I said he did the right thing.
When he stomped on Sabonis, intentionally, he puts his foot on the man, and he looks at him, and he goes, that to me was way worse than taking Gobert and escorting him. And yes, but he had a firm grasp around the man's neck. But he had his hand. I've seen the video. Gobert put his hands on Klay's neck. And you know what? You drew first blood. And just because Draymond came in, think about back in the day in the Yoon, or if you're on the mean streets of Reading, or on the wrong cul-de-sac in Foster City, and somebody, that was meant for humor. If somebody comes at your boy, you're going to match force with 100X. So have I. And so Draymond, shout out Saginaw, sees Gobert with his hands on Klay's neck, and he comes in and he cleans it up.
He dragged him 8 feet. He didn't just put the...
Gobert's lucky he survived it.
Yeah. Steiny,
that's all I'm saying.
You over there quiet.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Twitch and YouTube powered by First NorCal Credit Union. There you go.
The comparison about Sabonis, the one thing I think the league will look at in that particular case is that happens within the framework of playing basketball.
Kind of.
And that's why, and I get where you're coming from, but they're going to look at this and they're flatly going to say that the situation was one thing, and then Draymond escalated it to something else. That's how they're going to look at it. I think there's plenty of debate that's totally fair over what was Gobert's intent. Why did he go to Klay to be called a peacemaker? I think the Warriors are pretty upset by that label, and I get why. But the whole thing had one tone, and then it got Draymond.
Right.
Because they don't like each other. You got 5 from my DP.
Nobody likes either of them. Nobody likes either of those guys.
Okay, well.
Gobert's teammates don't like him.
But
he got into a thing last year with Slow-Mo. Slow-Mo on the bench just to get out of here.
Who does he get in trouble?
Yeah, Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert are fighting on the bench. Rudy and Donovan Mitchell don't like each other.
There is something that we haven't mentioned. I'm going to run this by you guys. So when Draymond's done this in the past, a lot of times he's done it on a great team. All right? Mm-hmm. So it was always, he's a 4-time champion, and he does more good than bad.
Yeah.
Worth it. He's worth it. He's worth it. I think 2 things are going on right now. We're having legitimate questions about whether this is worth it. Because we ain't 20-5. We're 6-6, and now we're looking at playing without you. You're going to be 6-8, maybe. I'm not saying they are going to do it. The other thing about this is it does come right after he got a contract extension. Now we know he's going to be here for 4 years, and so it's the start of it, and it does make you think, like, we got to either accept this or figure out a different way to cope.
You already accepted it.
No doubt.
When you offered him that deal,
right?
You signed on saying, we signed
more like the fans.
No, or the fans will either accept it or never accept it. And I've never been a guy to, quote, accept it. But I look at last night and see the way that all transpired, and I don't I don't take him as that much of the villain in the situation.
No, me neither.
There were no punches thrown. He didn't throw him to the ground and stomp on him or kick him in the nards as he's done to like 4 different players.
Suspension is coming, though.
But
We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
For me,
we know a suspension's coming.
Well, we don't know that. We are assuming it. You said 10 games. I think 1 because he already sat out a full game. So if you think he deserves 2, well, he already sat out 1 because I was a minute and a half in. So if he gets 2, you don't give him 2 more. That'd be 3.
But here's the other thing. It's like, okay, Draymond did the right thing. You got to have a teammate's back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, he's going to do it again. He's going to have a teammate's back again.
Of course.
And there'll be fallout.
The one thing I appreciate about Draymond, and it's not that I like this, it's not that I support every move he makes, but there's somewhere in there you have to respect. There's one Draymond. We all know thousands of people in our lives, and I bet almost everybody we know, you're like, whoa, they got kind of like, right, multiple personalities. Where did that come from? I didn't see, right? Boy, he snapped at me. Where'd that come from? There's one Draymond. There's one Draymond.
There's
He
only
does
one
the
Draymond.
Same thing
in a world.
Every time, every day.
And they've signed up
every
for it,
scenario
Yep.
completely.
Yep.
And by the way, the contract this last year was not when they signed up for it. They signed up for it way before that. There's also been one Warriors as far as the way they talk about Draymond. They're a better team with him. And in sports, this isn't even just about Draymond. We've watched this example a million times in our lives. We don't have to love it, but look at Deshaun Watson's contract in Cleveland. Why would you do that? Because they thought they'd be a better team. And for sports teams, when we want them to have some sort of morality clause in the way they go about it, just keep dreaming. They're not going to. Like, yes, they'll stop short of like, oh, I know, you're right, he's a child molester, but we think, long-term deal. They're not going to do that, right? You do see Trevor Bowers and things like that where an organization will say enough is enough. But when it's on the margins like this, where Draymond's not breaking any laws, it's all within the framework of the way he plays basketball, and a team is not going to even blink about stuff like this if they think that player makes them better.
Right, and I think we're getting to a point where it's starting to become more and more debatable whether
maybe.
And here's the other thing you say, and I agree with you. Draymond makes the Warriors better. Okay, fair, but he doesn't make them a championship team. Like if the championship days are over, so what if he makes you better? If better's 44-38, but you're in a window where all that matters is titles. So. I'm not, but you know what I'm saying?
That's a little Wizard of Oz of like, pay no attention to what's going on behind the curtain. Like, they're not going to tell you that even if they agreed with you, and I know some of our listeners do and some don't, this idea that the championship window is over.
Right.
Well, the Warriors are not going to have an announcement on that.
That's fair. That is fair. What all I'm getting at is we saw last year what this team was, and it's looking like we still have issues with stuff. And Draymond's always in the middle of it. And
I'll say,
I mean,
what if we all bought that premise? What if we all go ahead?
He's 12 games into 4 more years.
More years. Yeah.
You're tired.
That's wild.
But we've already talked about how this is going to end.
But I'm talking,
we know it's going to end.
more about his decline in play also.
He's playing great. Like Draymond Green to start this year.
Dibs, I'm mad at
if you want to.
He makes no impact.
And he's shooting better than he ever has.
Fine.
He's making his
offensively, he's their third best player. He's better than Klay, and he's better than Wiggins.
He's not better
He's
than
averaging
Podziemski.
0.1 point more than last year.
Yeah.
He's played offensively.
Last year he averaged
more
8.7. I'm surprised he didn't pick this up yet.
He's averaging
8.8.
Oh, you're counting last night.
Oh, I'm counting them all. He got ejected early.
That's such cowardice right there.
It actually sounds like something you would say.
Man.
And you know
something you would say at about 4:45.
Completely. And we've already talked about how we all in our business we weaponize stats, and I'm going to weaponize a country right now with this next take because Rudy Gobert.
Don't do this. You better not.
So French. He is so French.
Oh, boy.
Oh, he's been, somebody's arm is on my neck. I have to throw my head back. Drama.
Have you ever been to France?
Yeah, have you ever
many
been?
times. I've been to France.
How many? What's many?
5 times. I was
Is
in
that a
France
fact?
before you were even out of middle school, dog.
Probably true.
Yes, I've been to France.
Mark, I don't know, actually.
2 of my closest friends in the world, actually, I'd say 3 of my 10 closest friends are French.
Oh, wait, Henri?
Do they know that you hate them?
Jean-Marc. There is Philippe, and there's our friend Luc Staffanegger, who we all know, and he will call in. He's on the YouTube feed, being French, and there's a certain je ne sais quoi about being French.
That did
and
not
Rudy
sound
Gobert.
like je ne sais quoi. That sounded like you were calling them all wimps.
No, I'm not calling them wimps.
That's what it sounded
He got paid.
That's you using words.
So what were you? So use words.
I'm saying the embellishment of the French, and you watch Rudy, and Draymond has him around the neck. And he throws his head back
he was like,
this may be my last gasp
he's
on
a
earth.
soccer player.
I want to say
He's a soccer
I
player.
want to say farewell to my mom and my mother, my father, and all of the French people.
What about
Just
this?
give me a
though?
break,
Steiny,
dude. Rudy Gobert.
What if we bought your premise?
outta here.
What if we bought your premise
That
Draymond, it doesn't really resonate and make them better? Wouldn't most Warrior fans still?
That's a great question.
Just for the show,
Don't say that.
just for the loyalty, whatever you've called it. Like if you're not going to win a ring, do you want young people developing,
Fair.
or do you just want Steph, Klay, and Dre to finish in Warrior jerseys?
Well, that's the question that we may have to look
already
at
be there.
head on with
No
Klay.
doubt about it. And it happened
With
last
Klay.
night.
Like they
We got
made a
glimpse
decision
of
on
it.
Draymond. Doesn't mean they might not trade him down the line, but Klay's going to be tricky, as you said, and.
Well, he's in the last year of his deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you may not have to worry about Klay Thompson and his decline.
I'll say this, Dre. This is why he's masterful. Steiny, I'm tired. Dibs has ripped him. We've ripped him. And some love him. He's divided the fan base. But what kills me and why I shut my trap is the guy that signs the check thinks that you're okay. And we re-upped. And then I've heard the coach say, Dre's being Dre. Yeah, you guys don't know Mark Willard. We do. So he's got a license to do this. So how can I be more upset when the organization is saying, hey, 4-4 hundo, you're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I try to tell Steiny that, but he's like, everybody behind closed doors, they might be mad.
They can be wrong.
But they don't matter in a sense if they're not affecting his pay.
But what you're saying, and I think this is a fair position if people want to take it, if you don't like this, don't be mad at Draymond. Be mad at the Warriors.
That's exactly where I'm at.
That's it. If you don't like it, be mad at the Warriors.
Nothing to see here.
Not Draymond.
It's a good spot.
Hey, Chris Paul needs to send him a big bouquet of flowers.
4 turnovers last
Chris
night.
Paul needs to
Shoot
pull
the
up
rock.
from 10
Thank
feet.
you, Willard.
What the hell? He ruined
Come
the damn
on,
game.
Dibs. Shoot it.
Great acquisition, Dibs.
I couldn't believe that. 4 turnovers. Look at Dibs taking it hard.
4 hours of not being able to get my takes out.
Nah,
there it is.
You'll be fine.
No, there's
of
only
talk
three.
blockers
There's only three and
I've
a
been in
half
this
left.
business longer than any of us.
whatever.
All right, gents.
Don't
hey,
get paid
go
by the
Warriors.
word. Hey, geez,
I was born in Fairfax.